Chris here. This episode gets into ableism and child abuse. If that's not something you're comfortable listening to, then we understand. But if you continue with the episode, I hope you enjoy and have a good day.
Welcome y'all to Backwoods Obscura, a podcast dedicated to the lore, legends, and myths surrounding the creatures that may lurk in your backyard. My name's Hewitt.
I'm Chris.
How you doing tonight, man?
It's been a week. I'm at the age where you have to get a bunch of drugs, and I'm saying that wrong. I'm talking about medication specifically.
You're running into the same problem we're running into with my son.
Yeah. Well,
that certain ADHD meds are kind of hard to get a hold of.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I guess it's not like a middle-aged thing because I was one of the early kids into the ADHD diagnosis. I was actually a ADD kid growing up. I didn't know this until I talked to my mom, but I was diagnosed at 4 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And from 4 years old onward to about 15, 16, well, probably 17, 18, I was getting regular blood tests and, going to the doctor twice a year for this. And then I was like, I don't need to do this. And this past month, I realized, I probably need to be on this medication. Just
FYI.
It's like, it's always been in the back of my mind where it's like, you probably have ADD still and it's still affecting you, but it's really gotten out of hand, and the executive function has gone downhill, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm not that much older than you, but my parents are more old school in their raising, so I know I have ADHD. But their solution was I was BAD, and
BAD, what is that?
Bad.
Oh.
Yeah. So now he's kind of changed some of his opinions, but also I had a lot of spankings to solve my problems.
Well, it's one of those things where, at least with your parents, there's a delayed understanding of it. It's like, it could actually be a thing now. And it could just be like, grandparents tend to be maybe a little bit more
bit, but let's get off this subject because the more I think about my childhood, the more questions I raise.
Okay. To be fair, his parents were okay.
Let me put it out here for anybody that's listening. I do very much love my parents.
Okay. So, what do you know about the Grunch?
He's a mean one.
Mr. Grunch? No, not the Grinch. The Grunch. We had to get that joke out the way.
I mean, it's one of those who would not have that joke.
I mean, that joke. Ever since the 70s, when was it the 70s?
I think it's older, but you want to know a fun fact? The guy who sings the song was Tony the Tiger.
Really?
They're great.
You're a mean... I guess I can see it now.
You're a mean one. Frosted Flakes.
God damn it. But yeah, okay, so what do you know about the Grunch?
I have not much. I know it's near New Orleans. I know that it's like 1,000 different horror stories fused into one. But the one I'm mostly seen or read about anything kind of connected is kind of a Hills Have Eyes situation.
I mean, that's one little bit of it.
Kind of almost some of the stories might be a little Jersey Devilish.
I mean, I'm glad you said that because when I was reading up on this, there was a specific story, although I only saw it from one particular source, which is another podcast. I cannot remember the podcast. I was just listening to shit on my spare time at work.
Is it one of those, it's a little after 1 and I'm a little drunk and I'm listening to cryptids now?
Yeah, it's exactly that. But the story exclusively made me think, or distinctly made me think of the Jersey Devil. But you're not totally off base, because while the main story goes back a couple hundred years, and it is distinctly a New Orleans thing, there is a bunch of stories about the Grunch in other places of the South Louisiana area. But the thing is, it's one of those things where, depending on where you are in South Louisiana, the Grunch is going to be kind of a different beast. It's one of those stories where, like, the name kind of gets appropriated for different monsters.
So is it kind of like everything has its own little flavor of this?
Kind of, yeah.
It's kind of, okay, is it like the skunk ape, Bigfoot, Sasquatch?
I think it's a little bit different.
Three-cheeked beast. Is it just all a different name for something similar, or is it more
well, the three-cheeked beast, obviously, is a different monster entirely from Sasquatch. But no, when it comes to, like, skunk ape, falcon monster, things like that, the name changes, but the general idea of the monster doesn't. So you think of Sasquatch, you think of a giant ape-like creature with big feet, right?
Big old gorilla man.
Yeah. With the Grunch, it's like the name stays the same, but the creature differentiates. So it starts off like okay, so there is like a Chupacabra type Grunch, right?
Yeah.
And then you have one that is more Jersey Devilish. And then you have one that is kind of there's actually a story from Monts, Louisiana, down south, where it is actually what would you call it? A satyr-like creature.
So a goat man.
A goat man, yeah, exactly.
So before we get started, can we just both agree how wonderfully 1970s, early 80s slasher flick a monster called the Grunch is?
It's so wild, because I'm thinking, what is that fucking... The Chud?
Chud, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of something like that, but this actually goes back to the early roots of the founding of New Orleans. Before New Orleans was a part of the United States.
Well, that's an extensive period.
Yeah. There have been sightings of the Grunch since then, but we'll get into that. And I'm going to say this right up front. I know that, okay, first off, we started this podcast off by saying that, like, we've started this podcast off by saying that we are skeptics at heart when it comes to this. We are Louisiana skeptics, which means we won't test things. And you have said before, and other friends of ours who listen to the podcast have said, that you are the more harsh critic.
I am more verbal in my "this is bullshit" rating.
When it comes to this, I'm going to be a pretty harsh critic, because I believe I know exactly what the Grunch is, and by the end of the podcast, I think you're going to agree with me.
I think the Grunch...
Agree with me, I'm sorry.
I think the Grunch was the center for the Saints back in the 70s.
No.
Come on, think about Grunch. Also does kind of sound. Well, I think I'm thinking about like Grack or Grog. What is his name? That's now doing like commercials.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It sounds like a football player nickname.
Oh yeah, it is. It's a football. No, that's not what I'm going to.
Making up the offensive line right now at center is Grunch, and off on the side tackle is Grundle.
But there's multiple different stories about the Grunch. There are a few details that kind of coincide together, like they kind of mix together. There's similarities there, but okay. The most popular version of the Grunch, which comes out of New Orleans, which goes back to the early era of New Orleans. We're talking about before Cemetery Number 1, sort of, or the founding of, like, we're talking about the Spanish architecture isn't even there.
Yeah, you're talking about actual French New Orleans.
Yes. So we're talking about, and I want you to listen to this, we're talking about a reptile-like canid creature. We're talking about a creature with spines on the back, glowing eyes, claws, a weird smell, and would make a strange howling-like sound or growling-like sound. What does that sound like to you?
Swamp puppy.
Yeah, an alligator.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's an alligator.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so there are other stories saying, again, we went over the satyr-like creature.
Well, before we jump into that, let's just break it down with going that the original thing that these folks in the late 1600s, early 1700s might have seen being an alligator is, you're European.
Yeah.
From France.
Yeah.
You come over here because you're promised there's furs and gold and other bullshit. And then there is a danger log that is legitimate the closest description of a worm with a Y that you've ever heard of. Like, think about seeing an alligator for the very first time, especially at night.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, we're going to get into the main sightings of the Grunch here soon, but
I'm just saying you came off kind of harsh there, and I'm like, the first time Europeans shot an alligator and it just looked at them.
Here's the thing. Like, I'm not, like, the initial appearance of the creature, I'm not hating on those first French people that came over here and first saw alligators. The appearance of the Grunch is as recent as now.
I know.
Yeah, so...
I shouldn't say... okay, edit that out. That was kind of an asshole line on my part, Chris.
No. I mean, you didn't know. It's fine. I'm not going to edit anything.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, if you don't edit out and people later on, I know that there are sightings still happening of this thing today, or else we wouldn't be...
Yeah, we wouldn't be talking about it, but there are some other, like, attributes it tends to have. Like, sometimes it's human-like, despite having reptile or canid-like qualities.
This just sounds like the Honey Island swamp monster.
Well, it's getting into that because it has a strong stench. I mean, everything in the South has a strong stench, though.
Let's put a... I hate to do this again. Let's put a pin in this. Why is every monster stinky?
I mean, I think it's because, at least when you talk about the South, there's a lot of stinky things.
Well, it's not just that, like, Bigfoot or any type of Sasquatch shows up, it's musky. And I'm like, I've never gotten close enough to other primates to test this, but I know that...
Well, I think it's because that, like, okay, if you've ever been in a pen, or not in a pen, but if you've ever been to the zoo where there's... or you've been anywhere near alligators or...
Well, I mean, yeah, animals are
I'm saying alligators because I'm thinking alligators, because the Grunch is an alligator. No. If you're ever near any creature that lives in, like, a swampy or, like, wetland... Dank environment, they tend to be musky.
I know, but it's like, here's the thing, like, we need to start breaking this thing. Like, all of a sudden you smell like something funky in the swamp. I'm like... That's not the sign that something's walking up. All of a sudden, like, Axe body spray is what you smell, and like, oh shit, the Grunch.
No, that's just the three-cheek beast, remember?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, oh no. That's Dr. Squatch brand soap. The Grunch is coming.
Oh my god.
Just turn the Grunch into a dude, bro. No, but
so,
like...
yo, dude, I'm the fucking Grunch, and here... What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You looking at my girl? You looking at my girl? What you gonna do?
Turns the Hardy hat backwards.
He's like, you ready to fight? He starts taking off his shirt, but he doesn't have a shirt, so he's just like fiddling at his fur.
Like, bro, you good?
No, we gonna fight right now as soon as I get my shirt off, and he can't get the shirt off because he doesn't have a shirt on.
Well, now I know what I'm gonna have to clip when this eventually freaking posts.
But yeah, there are different types. Like, again, I said that the most common version is often attributed to the El Chupacabra. It predates the El Chupacabra by a few decades.
The Chupa thingy didn't really start becoming popular till the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, it was a thing in the 1970s,
yeah, I'm just saying,
far as I can recall, but it wasn't until the 90s when it was.
I'm just saying when America found out about it.
But sometimes it's human-like. Sometimes, like, it is described as intelligent. It's described as sometimes having wings. The eye shine can sometimes be green. Which, again, I'm looking at what is in the swamp, and I'm like, red or green. Okay, alligators predominantly have red eye shine. You go shine a light into a swamp and you see red eye shine, you're like, oh, those are fucking alligators.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can have a tail or a fur. I mean, alligators have tails.
And cypress moss and Spanish moss can fall down and get on stuff. Plus, just algae.
Yeah. And again, we went over the satyr-like creature, but this is all due to, like, you have a creature that is being, or a name of a creature that's being appropriated in different areas. I don't know if appropriated is the right term, but just used for different creatures. Because there is a pan-like or satyr-like creature that is used in a different part of Louisiana that is more like you go to a railroad station and you honk your horn, you do this big ritual, and then it comes out for an offering.
Oh, so it's like the Goatman Bridge over in Was it Carolina or wherever it's at?
Or in there's a goat bridge in Texas and Carolina. There's a few goat bridges, but it is kind of like one of those things where you do the ritual.
Man, the devil's busy showing up at so many different bridges.
But would you like to know how it operates or how it attacks its victims?
Okay, that's better because you say the way it operates, I'm like, DOS? Linux? Is the Grunch a Linux man?
He's actually Linux.
Okay, good.
Are they Linux?
They Linux? Yeah, okay, we can go with that.
No, I mean plural they.
Oh, they.
Because...
you're saying there's a population.
There might be. We're not getting into the origin yet. So, have you ever been to Grunch Road?
No.
Well, I mean, it's you wouldn't be the only one because Grunch Road is kind of hard to find. There's hold on.
Does Grunch Road actually exist?
It's debatable.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm still here. I'm still down.
Okay, so here's the thing. Grunch Road. Okay, so we're talking about Grunch Road back in the day when New Orleans was mostly, we're talking about a city on Lake Pontchartrain or squeezed between Lake Pontchartrain and the Mississippi River before all the irrigation and the land acquisition, all that bullshit. So apparently it was a road of shells and sand and dirt.
It was a built-up levee road.
Yeah, and you would accidentally find yourself on there, then the Grunch would show up and either suck your blood, which is a Chupacabra, I think, or harass or hurt you. But the thing is, it's
okay, so the version that you did earlier is still 100% accurate, except like you're going, "Oh, monsieur, you hold on, I must take off my doublet. I'm going to harass you. You have come down my road.
You have come down my road. Let me take off my shirt. Do I have a shirt on?" And it's just sitting there.
Just still, reaching. It's just. This is the time it was a. What was to be the French version of a chat? A Jacques.
A Jacques.
Oh, little bit of a joke there with Jacques and Jacques.
God damn it! But the thing is, in New Orleans, it's not. It's kind of disputed on where it's from. So near Haine Boulevard is in East New Orleans. If you look at where...
Of course, New Orleans East is where this thing would show up.
Yeah. So, Haine Boulevard is a boulevard that runs the length of the Lake Pontchartrain. And if you look at... most of the area is now developed. But back in the day, it wasn't. And we're getting back into my alligator theory. Because a lot of it used to be swampy, nasty, watery area. And if you go on like a quote road of sand and shells and dirt, and you see something walking, if you've ever seen an alligator walking,
it gets okay. Alligator walking's kind of weird because you're like, watching an alligator run gets spooky real quick because you don't think that chunky bastard should move that fast.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm still sold on the fact that the original Grunch
is a big-ass gator.
It's a fucking big-ass gator. And we're going to get more into that, and I'm sorry, people from the South that, like, might consider this, like...
You're kind of burying the lead on where we stand on our belief and disbelief in this story.
I mean, we've always said that we're skeptic, but... I try to be pretty
I know.
I try to be pretty charitable. Even with the Honey Island Swamp Monster, with all the silly stuff about NASA and the circus and everything, I was like, they probably saw something. And with the Falcon Monster, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, the Ford family, of them seeing something that they weren't used to. Even if it was a bear, I would. That's still
a bear reaching through your window to steal your blanket is still fucking terrifying.
Yeah, or just running into a black bear in the middle of the night, that would still be a freaky event. But this is just like people wandering on what they think is a road and just seeing like an alligator. I don't see as like as big of a thing, which seems to be like, I honestly didn't see a lot of like notable like events, so to speak. We'll get into the origins. The origins is where it gets really fucking funny.
Where it gets flavorful.
Yeah. But most of it's like, I saw the Grunch getting into my trash can. I saw the Grunch on the side of the road eating a platypus or some shit like that. There's no platypus in Louisiana. I'm just...
You know, stop. Before you say that,
there's going to be platypus.
We're going to find out. Like the new Tiana's Bayou adventure at Disney, there's an otter that's supposed to be in a Louisiana swamp. And I'm trying, like, honestly, like, this might be my ignorance. I don't know of a thriving otter population down here.
Jeez.
But there's going to be a bobcat.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I don't know if that's good, actually, but... there again, we go back to Mons, Louisiana, where there is Evangeline Road, which is supposed to be Grunch Road in Mons, Louisiana, where it is said to be like this kind of place where you go and do a ritual and then give an offering to the Grunch, and it's supposed to be kind of like this fae figure. And I think, honestly, in that sense, it just got mixed up with other ideas of creatures. And in fact, when I read into it, it was like, you go down Evangeline Road, you go to a railroad, you can see lights, your engine turns off. It's a lot of things we've already talked about.
The stereotypical southern urban legend.
Yeah, you talk about ghost lights and things like that. Similar things. It's not exactly as exciting as like, a creature coming out to suck your blood. At least in the sense of this podcast where we've already talked about something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But would you like to know the origins of the creature?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you again. How much do you know about Marie Laveau?
Voodoo Queen.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if you don't know about Marie Laveau...
Okay, look, I know the touristy stuff about Marie Laveau. I know stories from Ghost Tour and Zombie Tour hosts Marie Laveau. I also know the little bit of history. I studied about Marie Laveau when I did the history of Louisiana, history of New Orleans in college. Yeah. At the same time, that's still not actually a lot about, because a lot of the stuff with Marie Laveau is a well-crafted PR campaign.
Of course. What I'm saying here is, if you're from Louisiana, you know at least a little bit of Marie Laveau. Fake or real. But her existence in this story is one of the central origins of the Grunch.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just going to prepare you for this. It's going to get really weird.
You know what? I'm here for it.
Okay, so apparently... some people brought to Marie Laveau when she was still a root worker. Okay, so let me get this out the way. If you haven't heard of Marie Laveau, she was a real person. She is actually buried in
St. Louis #1.
Yeah.
Her tomb is a voodoo/hoodoo holy site that you can no longer go to because people doodled like, all right, look, again, the skeptic part of me goes, it's a tomb. The other part of me goes, don't Marie Laveau's tomb.
Yeah. She is a famous root worker, voodoo priestess, also apparently a devout Catholic. But, I mean, that's kind of like par for the course.
That's part and parcel here, but also she could do hair really well, apparently.
Yeah. She was a Creole woman, born a free woman of color. But apparently some people brought to her what was called a devil baby to her. It doesn't. I didn't really see a lot of explanation of how or why they thought this baby was devilish. And you're gonna see a through line here is up until recently we didn't really give a shit about kids. Apparently, just
childhood. The concept of childhood is younger than the nation that we live in.
Yeah. So they brought this quote devil baby to Marie Laveau. And this is a story. Like, this has... I'm not putting this on Marie Laveau, the person. I'm just saying this is the story about the Grunch. You're giving me a look right now.
I'm giving you the Ron Swanson face right now with everything on this.
They brought the devil baby here. And she was like, this is a devil baby. We must not...
I'm laughing because you keep saying devil baby.
This is dang devil baby right here. We gotta do something about this devil baby. So what does she think to do in this story? This is a story, Marie Laveau. I am not going to say anything about the real Marie Laveau.
Does she yeet it out in the swamp?
It's even worse.
Oh my god.
So
put one of the pre-recorded warnings.
Yeah, we're putting the pre-recorded warning here.
No, just put it at the beginning of the episode. One of us doing it, not the one talking about eggs.
Don't talk about the eggs. We're not talking about eggs right now. But apparently she decided to castrate the devil baby, and from the devil baby's genitalia came two Grunches, male and female. I told you this was gonna get weird. And they attacked Marie Laveau until she passed out.
There were Grunches in the grundle.
The Grunch came from the grundle. God damn it.
So the devil baby is just a Pokeball for these two weird ass alligators. Is what you're telling me. Oh my god.
So yeah, she woke up from the ordeal beaten with the creatures missing. The thing is, I didn't read anything about where the devil baby went. I was
about to ask, where's the devil baby?
I don't know. I don't know where the devil baby went.
They sent the devil. They castrated the devil baby and sent him to church to become a monk.
I guess so. I guess the devil baby became devil eunuch, devil monk. I don't know. Like, I don't know where the devil baby went. Maybe I'm just 80. Maybe I just need to take
No, this is a valid point because here's the thing. The way this story starts is they bring Marie Laveau a devil baby, which seems like a hook, line, and sinker for the rest of the story. And then they M. Night Shyamalan on you and have her do something terrible with mutilation. And then from the mutilation, two, like, chupacabras come out?
Yeah. And the thing is, where are the parents at? Did the parents take the devil baby, now castrated, back? What happened with the devil baby?
Oh, thank you. You de-chupacabra'd our baby.
It's like, thank you for, like, doing this horrible act to our baby. Like,
oh, God, the part of me that makes me realize the terribleness, the reason they probably would say this baby was a devil baby is they could have had something as simple as a cleft palate.
Yeah, no. Okay, so here's the thing, and I'm going to warn you going into... Okay, we talked about, like, this might be a Hills Have Eyes situation.
Is this... Yeah, okay.
It gets into, like, very dated ideas of people.
Oh, are we getting into, like... Yeah, okay, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. Just continue on.
Okay, so
we're going to soldier through.
We're going to soldier through. Okay, so we have Marie Laveau castrating a baby.
Getting beat up by ball gators.
By ball gators who were both male and female and then running off into the swamps. That's the origin of the Grunch. Because apparently it becomes Grunches and then... Actually, the Grunch is also the plural of...
Okay, Grunches doesn't sound as good as just saying Grunch.
Yeah. But there is another one.
Why they gotta besmirch that woman like that?
I know, right? Like, I don't think she... I am 100%...
This is how you get double haunted.
This is why when I was first reading this, I was like, Okay, when I first started reading the description of Grunch, I was like, this is an alligator. And then I read this. It's like, fuck you, this is an alligator. I am not besmirching this woman.
I'm not gonna get cursed from the grave.
Yeah. I'm not gonna besmirch Lady Marie Laveau this way. Please. But anyway, the next one is even weirder, and again, we get into like ableist and just 18th century territory of just fucked up. So apparently the Grunch comes from a group of albino and little people that were shunned from society and either inbred to become the Grunch, because that's apparently how inbreeding works. I mean, we know how inbreeding works. I mean, we've seen the royal family, but
Ayo.
They were making a pact with the devil and became the Grunch. Or they made a pact with the devil and the devil created the Grunch to protect the albino and little person commune in the swamp.
Okay, so far we got 3 options. We either went Hills Have Eyes.
I haven't actually finished
No, because you said that they inbred. So we either go, so far we got 3 options that you mentioned. The Hills Have Eyes, Warlock.
Yeah.
Or worst summon ever.
Yeah. Well, there's a fourth one, actually. They might have also been cursed by the devil because, of course, people in those days thought people with dwarfism and albinism were cursed by the devil because they were fucking idiots.
They were different and looked at these people and go, uh-oh.
They're morons.
Yeah.
The people judging these people.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Fuck these people, personally. But yeah, that's the 2 main stories. Like, I'm reading this and just going back to the fact that I'm like, these people are making this shit up about fucking alligators. They're talking about alligators.
I'm actually sad right now because I've been looking forward to the story of the Grunch for so long because
look,
the name is the Grunch. Okay, like
yeah.
I'm sitting here going, that's a good horror movie monster name, or a good lineman from the NFL's name.
Yeah.
This is a name like Grunch. It's guttural, it's rough, it's terrible, and then and like in the little bit I knew about, it's like there's a road and there's a thing and there's like the urban legend and it'll show up and you gotta like sacrifice something to it. Like the one thing I saw when I was like going through like the Louisiana Obscura, like these are the 10 things that are terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like you have to offer up like a baby type stuff.
Yeah. The thing is, that's what I was going off of too, because I thought this was just like a fun little story, and then I read this and I'm like, what the fuck?
I thought this was gonna be like, here's an actually terrifying like boogeyman of the swamp, like Rougarou-esque. No, these are people being assholes about an alligator and then like bringing in little people.
Yeah, and albinism, like,
and trying to say that they worship the devil, like for all of our for all of our short Satanists out there, you keep doing you, but like the way like they're trying to imply like it's
it's really fucked up. Like, there's a lot of like problems with
this. Like this, it went from like goofy and weird to problematic. So like that was a 90-degree turn there.
Yeah, the thing is with this too is like I was thinking about it and I was reading it. My initial thought was like, wow, this is going to be like the Honey Island Swamp Monster. I'm like, this is nothing like the Honey Island Swamp Monster. It's fucked up. Because
this is
like, you're talking about actual discrimination of people and then like castration of babies, when like the Honey Island Swamp Monster is like, oh yeah.
Might be a weird chimpanzee alligator baby made by NASA.
Yeah, that's fun. This isn't as fun as that. I know I sound like I'm laughing, but it's also like...
It's either you laugh or you scream.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with people? It's my initial impression.
Okay, look, if we're talking about the 1700s, so much.
There was so much lead.
Dude, I am so glad you did tell me this terrible, horrible, fucked up story. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we're not done yet.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, I was jumping. It's not done yet.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
It goes on.
Well, here's the thing. There are some other stories which I cannot confirm because I didn't really... Okay, so my research... we do pretty cursory research when it comes to this. It's more about us just going off the cuff and talking with each other. But there was a story which reminded me of the Jersey Devil. You talked about the Jersey Devil initially.
It's because I knew a little bit about something about Devil Baby, but I didn't know about Devil Baby Pokeballing.
Yeah. Well, there was a story that the Grunch came from, and this is a cooler story, where this comes from, like, the Catholic idea that you don't marry outside of your faith. So there's a woman that married outside of her faith, and the man was an atheist, and he shirked the religion, and while she was pregnant, he was disrespectful to the religion to the point of... it was either a picture of Jesus or Mother Mary. They threw off the wall, and then the Grunch was born from her. Again, we're talking about how people didn't really give a shit about kids back in the day. But that's at least, like, a pretty neutral story. That's
at least kind of a more... the Marie Laveau story minus the mutilation is, like, a very interesting story. And I feel like Marie Laveau's used there just to, like, try to legitimize it.
Yeah, she's just there to be like, oh, yeah, there's, like, historical legitimacy here.
I mean, it's, like, how many times does, like, some random figure show up in a myth? Like, oh, and Hercules was there. Oh, okay, well, Hercules was there. This has to be, yeah.
And there was another story, the laziest story of him, is it fell off a traveling circus car. That's all I saw. I mean, it was in a podcast. Again, I can't remember the podcast because I'm bad at researching and sourcing.
But here's the deal. That actually is like a good opening scene for a horror movie called
Grunch. It's like, if you're talking about like a movie where you're not really worried about like trying to make a detailed story. It's like something falls off a cart. Shit happens. That's good. That's fine.
NASA was involved.
Yeah. But going into the sightings, again, just before we close off here, there was like... this is getting back into the fact that I think it's an alligator. There was a heightened amount of sightings during Katrina.
Well, that 100% makes sense.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, the Grunch was displaced. You know what else was displaced? Alligators.
Some of the ones from the zoo got out.
Some of the ones from the zoo got out. There were alligators all over the place. And the biggest story is like there's like a creature or there's like a animal on the side of the road that's injured, and then the Grunch attacks you when you go and check out the creature. What's attacking you, actually? It's a big-ass alligator because you're getting next to its food. And every story, the road is near a swamp or like a swampy area. What's in a swamp? What's in a swamp? Do we really need... like Marie Laveau castrating babies or like ableism towards little people to describe this? Do we really need this? It's fucking alligators, okay?
I like how you went Jon Stewart there and just threw paper over your shoulder.
I got legitimately annoyed at this because I'm like, the whole time I was like, we don't need these fucked up stories. It's a fucking alligator.
Which, to be fair, is terrifying enough.
It's terrifying enough. Okay, you know what? They say it howls. Have you listened to an alligator? You know what? I'm going to cut here. I'm going to put an alligator here. You're going to hear the alligator speak.
Where it hisses and gurgles and makes those nasty giant muffler noises.
Yeah, it's fucking scary. Go look up an alligator walking. It's fucking scary. It's fucking creepy. And you go and put that in the tall grass, you're going to be freaked out.
You don't even have to put that in tall grass. Remember our zoo used to have that 12-foot alligator before a tree fell on him.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I know that's like the most redneck thing to describe. How did the alligator at your zoo die? Well, a tree fell on it. Is that what killed it? No. It got a hole in its nose and it got infected. That's what killed it. But no, we had a 12-foot alligator that would regularly climb partway up the cage that was around.
Yeah.
Like it was extruded metal, like the stuff you build a grill out of. They've torn down this enclosure, by the way. They're building a much better one that's more humane and everything for them. But this big boy would climb up that until his snoot was almost equal with the top of it. And if you want to know what's scary, it's not watching an alligator run or walk. It's watching them climb up something like a ladder.
You don't expect, like, if you've ever seen an alligator, you might see it just sitting around. You don't expect it to have energy.
Verticality is not something you expect from them.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the fucking Grunch, okay? That's me. That's me, the Grunch. I am the Grunch now.
No, you're not.
I am not the Grunch.
You know what? I will state what I said earlier when I jumped the gun, because I thought we were done because we went over something very terrible and you looked uncomfortable. Is thank you for telling me this. I am still
I'm
sort of
glad
sad.
to give this to someone else so they can feel as uncomfortable as I did.
Is this the
reading
brainworm
this.
that you have to pass on?
Yes, it's the brainworm I have to pass on. Thank you for listening out there. We are also Team Bonus Action, if you want to go over that.
Okay, you can find several things we do also on the side with Team Bonus Action, which is our charity podcast and streaming that we do with D&D, Pathfinder, Monster Week, and several other games, sometimes play video games. You can find us at teambonusaction.com, created by our own very wonderful Fricky V. You can find us at Team Bonus Action on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Blue Sky, Threads. You can find us on the Hellscape. That is Twitter at bonus_team. You can also find us specifically with Backwoods Obscura.
Backwoods Obscura is going to be on Blue Sky, X, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and Facebook as Backwoods Obscura. I'm going to be posting soon, so look forward to that. And with that,
before, if you are listening to this, please give us a comment, a like, because that will help us go up in the algorithm. However that works, I don't know. I'm a Luddite, so
I am too.
So if you could do any of that or give us a share with anybody, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you for listening, whatever time it is, day, night, and yeah.